It's not a normal world, it's Taskmaster World, and welcome to a new episode of Taskmaster World, the podcast. See, I left you in suspense. You knew what you were watching, obviously, but I left you in suspense. Now, a few things I want to say before we begin the episode. Now, I am going to tell you this now live because I'm getting up on my phone to get the immediate answer. But thank you for 964 subscribers, and thank you for the most recent comments. I was going to read out your name and your username, but it's one of those where it's hard to pronounce. Now, we haven't got a lot of time today. Just like in the last episode, we haven't got a lot of time because I've got some other stuff I need to crack on with, and these videos take a little bit longer to film and take a little bit longer to do the editing because I have to add the YouTube intro, then the intro for the podcast, then the outro, as well as adding this in. And if there's any bits I need to add in, like last week, I had to add in a bit where I googled something later. But let's get on with the episode. Now, episode 3. Next week, there will be no video on Taskmaster World. Episode 4 will come out the week after for me, because I'm going away on holiday on this Saturday. I'll be back the following Saturday. So next Sunday will be when episode 4 of the Taskmaster World podcast, Taskmaster New Zealand series 2, episode 3. Episode 4, me reviewing it will be out, and then that Wednesday I'll be episode 5, double episodes, which is good. So then I'm almost nearly at 1,000 subscribers, 964. Thank you very much. Now let's get into today's episode. Today's episode, for a family-friendly YouTube channel standpoint, there's a lot of non-family friendly related items and related bits and bobs. So it will be short because there was quite a lot. Now if you see me looking down at any point if you're watching the YouTube, it's because I'm looking at my phone, and I'm sorry if I'm talking fast. Someone mentioned it once about my main channel, Tom Mason. Anyway, let's get into the video. Now the prize task. Most New Zealand thing, Ursula, old rugby ball, because apparently New Zealand's national sport, like ones like more people like, woo, is rugby, whereas in the UK it's football, or if you listen to this from America, it's soccer. Guy brought in a pillow that was made with the NZ, with just NZ on it, like the word NZ. With obviously the map of it to make it look like an NZ. David brought in something that, one, I didn't quite grasp what he said because it was the name of a fruit. I'm assuming it's a fruit that I've never heard of before, so I can't repeat it because I didn't grasp what it was. I'm not sure what it is, and I don't even know whether I don't even understand. It confused me. So David got 1 point for that. Now, I've not wrote on how many points everyone got. The prizes that I thought were quite unique or quite bizarre. I wrote down how many points he got for it. Ursula brought in some alcoholic cans. I think it must have been an alcoholic drink that was in the can. She upcycled it, which means turned into something else. And she made a load of animals, which got 5 points, which she deserved. Personally, I think she deserved. Matt brought in a bit of ground from NZ, from New Zealand. Now, if that was the case for the British Taskmaster, most New Zealand most British things, I would have brought in the soil ground because that's British. Matt had the best item, and Matt got 4, but I do understand why Laura actually tried. Task 1. Now, before we get in this video, I think today's episode, so episode 3, was the first ever. This is the first task. This is the first episode Taskmaster in Taskmaster history that ever have 4 tasks instead of the standard 3 and a live task. This episode had 4 and a live task. Now I don't think any version of Taskmaster across all 15 versions have ever done that. I don't even think the UK version did. We've had tiebreakers, but that's just to determine who's won that episode. But we've never had we've never had the Taskmaster say, I feel like this night is still young, let's have another task. So I thought that was a really good touch. And the task was short, sweet, and really good, and it just wouldn't have worked as its own segment. So it worked out like a very short bit at the end of the episode. Now, let's get on to task number 1. You have to um um you had to film something where it's yourself playing so many different characters. You just had to film yourself with so many different characters, and the more characters you have in it, the more the more likely you will to get 5 points. David started off walking and went, "I'm ready." Not in a farmer's accent. I don't know why I said a farmer's accent. I don't know it at all. So Laura, she played all the characters herself, like the task asked, but she used Paul's hand to knock on the door, and then I did a knock on the door, like mime. If you listen to this only, now that's allowed because that was only you needed a hand just to knock on, so then she can open the door from the other side. But when they walked through, you saw Paul in the mirror. Now I don't know whether Paul was in the mirror playing a character or Paul was in the mirror walking because he's the assistant. I'm not sure. So she ended up getting 17 characters in playing herself. Now Guy did a brilliant one with a lot of editing of himself playing different people and got 19. No, not 19. Sorry, 18 characters. So they did like an Olympic Games. David did a film about drunk driving. He had the best film he did. So he had 19. Sorry. Um, Ursula, Ursula made her own which soap opera. So Australia has got Home and Away and Neighbours, and they're popular soap opera. New Zealand has got Shortland Street, which is like a hospital thing. That used to air in the UK, but now doesn't. But that's why it's like a soap opera that's popular in New Zealand. They thought with Eggplay, and that gave me a really good idea. I want to make a soap opera, right? For my third channel, The Weird Side, I want to make a soap opera. Any suggestions? Leave in the comment section down below. I'll also say whilst I'm at it, any suggestions for 1,000 subscribers special? I want to do something really special. I had a few ideas, but I don't know whether I could do them, and I don't know how they would link to the channel. I was thinking like do something like really silly, not silly, but like really unique, something that I would only do when I celebrate the milestone. Which if I don't end up doing that, which I probably won't be able to, I might when I do the celebration, I might tell you what I would have what some ideas I had that I might take forward into the future, whether you want to see me do them for the next milestone. I might do that. Or when I get the community tab, I might put it there saying, would you want me to do this for the next milestone? So stay tuned to the channel. So good. Also subscribe whilst you're at it because I'm nearly at 1,000. Now Ursula's soap opera, she got Paul to be in it. The film may have wrote the rules of the task. She had 5 characters, but only 3 was played by her. Now that's why her what you get her film was awful. And then Matt did a non-family friendly one and only had 10 characters. Now we're gonna just skip on to task 2 now, which was the first ever team task in the series. Now, team 1 was David, Laura, and Guy, and team 2 was Ursula and Matt. Now, team 1, Laura you had to build a castle out of what I could see was Weetabix, but they called it something else, but it must just be a New Zealand thing. There must just be a New Zealand name for Weetabix. Now, Laura had only ever seen the Disney castle. They made a very good castle. So you had to eat the Weetabix, and then you got like 7 more. So to David went, and it's like didn't taste that nice. And then ended up drinking. Team 2, Matt wanted to make it simple, and Matt also broke the scissors. Yes. So there's a bit when he was cutting through the wood, and then the end of the scissors broke off. Now, later on, once they'd come to decide, they found out that Matt had eaten some of it, then put the rest of it in his back pocket. Now, he had cheated. Matt had cheated. Now that's brilliant because that's what Taskmaster is brilliant at, having one of the contestants decide to cheat. Now let's go into task 3. Now I didn't really write much on that, but wow. Oh yeah. I forgot what it is there. But here's task 3. Would have been the final task, but because there was 4 tasks and the live task in this episode, it makes the video me talking a little bit longer because I'm whittering on now to you guys. So I'm talking, and that's the podcast element. But we also have the outro that adds on to the time, the intro to the podcast, and then the video intro, which adds on to the time to make this video a lot longer. Because last week I did a short video, which I needed to do. This week I'm also doing a short video, but it's not going down in quality. Now, I am going to say this. Now, once the Taskmaster New Zealand is over, then what we'll be doing is we won't be doing the podcast for a while. So, 10 weeks. So, we're doing this for the last of this, and the podcast will disappear for a little while. And when the podcast does disappear for a little while, I'll be filling it in with new ideas for new stuff and recreating international Taskmaster tasks. So, what would you want me to see other than international task recreation? Because I've got a few of those because you suggested it on that Reddit thing, and so we've got that coming very soon. So I'm very excited for that. Well, let's get back into the video. Now, task 3, Ursula, she was not very good at hopscotch, and she was getting drunk, she was getting more drunk as the task went on. Now, Laura did say that the task previous that she did just like probably hours earlier, where she drank a load of wine, so we've got that to look forward to. So she was a little bit drunk, and so she did the same. She drank a bit of it. So what you had to do, you had the scotch, the alcoholic drink scotch, hopscotch. It was rather funny. And what they did was they had to transport it from one area to the other hand, but they had to do hopscotch in the middle. Ursula wasn't very good at it. Neither was Ursula wasn't very good at it. David was very good till the end when he had an incident point into the end bucket. Matt did fantastic. So did Guy, but I don't think Laura. Laura did all right, but Ursula was awful at it. Now let's go on to task number. Or let me just add more of a space. Task 4 was a mini task. You had to take a photo of someone else having the thumb up, and then their other hand pointing to the thumb up with a bowl on their head. They had until the studio task to do it. Now, yes, they had until the studio recording of that episode to do it. Now, Ursula had a good photo. She had one of her friends stood next to a sign near where she lived. Guy had a non-family friendly photo, but I don't know whether I will. If you've seen the episode, if you haven't, I don't know why you're watching this, but I don't know whether that was breaking any rules because that photo, even though it wasn't family friendly, there was a person with a thumbs up and their arrows with a bowl on their head, as the task allows, but it seemed like that he hadn't actually done anything to it, and it was already there, but it wasn't family friendly, so we can't talk about it here. Now, Laura also brought in a non-family friendly photo, and David Curious had the best one. What he did was there was a lot of health and safety he had to sort out with it, and it's him skydiving with someone else strapped to him as like the instructor, and then they had on the other end with the ball with a ball on his head, and that's quite dangerous, but that's rather funny because it was health and safety nightmare, and they sorted it. Now, Matt Matt had a photo because Jeremy went to a party, got really drunk, and was asleep. So Matt decided to put the ball on his head, do the thing whilst in Jeremy's bedroom, whilst Jeremy was out cold. Now, asleep. Now let's go on to the final task of the episode and the live task. They had to draw a pig before they could get the coin out the piggy bank, and you couldn't break the shell of the piggy bank. David won with 5 points and then won the episode. Ursula and Matt. Ursula's sort of like broke itself, and Matt just chucked it on the floor and smashed it everywhere. the cleaners that clean up the studio afterwards must have been a pain for them. But yeah, so David Carius won the episode. Hopefully, you win the series. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you thought it was interesting. Sorry. If leave your thoughts of the episode in the comment section down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, please, because I will at the end of the series also respond to what you guys thought should have happened and your thoughts of the series as a whole. So keep leaving it in the comment section down below. I'll be liking your comments, hearting your comment. If your comment is so good, I'll pin it. Thank you for 964 subscribers. I've been your host. Tom Mason. It's not a normal world, it's Taskmaster world. Keep on tasking!
Hello everyone, please subscribe to Taskmaster World.